Hello and welcome to our Seatrade Cruise Talks Wins Around the World. Cruise Restart is a reality around the world, and it's time to celebrate the stories of people, ports, and destinations that have shown creativity, resilience, and kept positive attitude in the past year. Today with us, and in every broadcast, we will have representatives from different regions telling us their stories and discussing how they managed through the pandemic, how is the situation now, and how they'll see the future. So I'm very happy that today here with us, we have 3 different regions from around the world. And let me first introduce Sarah Flink, Executive Director for Cruise Maine. Hello, Sarah. Thank you for coming and joining us.
Hi, Ioannis.
Paul Olberg, Business Development Manager for Orkney Cruise. Hello, Paul. Thank you. And Kostas Hadzikos, Head of Information and Promotion Department from the Municipality of Rhodes. Hello, Kostas.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
And welcome.
All right. Okay, let's start our first round. And I think ladies go first. And Sarah, let's start the discussion with you. How did you cope with the stop of operation for the past year? What was the situation? Tell us a little bit more about it.
Sure. So, back in March of 2020, we had not yet begun our cruise season that year in Maine. So we, like everybody else, thought this was going to be just a few short weeks of an episode. And so, we had daily meetings and sort of scrambling around with everyone in our region saying, how are we going to be ready in these few weeks when we restart in 2020? And of course, that is not what happened. So, 2020 was a painful year for a lot of people all over the world in travel and tourism. It was true for everyone who works here in Maine in cruise economically. But at the same time, I think everyone understood how important the public safety was and public health, and everyone understood that it was not going to happen for us in 2020. So we had our eyes on 2021 with the hopes that that would get us back up and running for cruise and for the rest of tourism here in the state.
Yeah, the same everywhere. And the thing is, do you now have a special plan in place for the restart of operations?
Well, we sure do. We've actually restarted cruising. We've got back in mid-May of 2021, we had our first ship arrive in Portland. It was great. It calls on 7 or 8 different ports here along the coast of Maine. Now we've got a second ship running. So it's a scaled back version of our season, but it is a restart and we are really thrilled with the results. And of course, to get there, we needed a plan. So late last fall, after the CDC released its conditional sail order, we realized we needed to put together our own plan for the shoreside piece. And we looked over at Europe and we saw that they were cruising successfully, right? There were tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of passengers that cruised last year. And we thought, well, that seems to be the place where we should go. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. They're doing it safely. Let's go get some guidance there. And so we started working with you, Ioannis, from Five Senses, and put together our COVID response plan for the entire state of Maine. We've got a statewide plan. Of course, we worked really closely with our Maine CDC. That's our public health authority here, and they were key as well. So we've got a plan in place, and it's been working.
That is great. I mean, we will have the opportunity to witness ourselves later on your short video, the reactions from the people. But let me tell you that you are on the pioneers in the USA. Earlier than anybody else, started early, to work together with representatives from all around your ports, doing the interface points. I can tell you that, and that was very, very, I think, encouraging that everybody came aboard early. And I think that the cruise lines also appreciated that. And I know that in your communications, as we discussed, they're looking forward to when they will be able to restart again. Even if that's 2022 or late 21, doesn't matter. You will be ready, and that's the main thing. Thank you, Sarah. Paul, let's go to you now in beautiful Scotland. What is the situation today? I know you had your first ship, and I've seen the pictures, I've seen the videos. People are happy. What's happening in Scotland?
Of course, we've just done our third cruise ship of the season, and if you just go to show, just echoing some of Sarah's comments, I joined Orkney in the end of 2019 after our season. We have quite a short season up here in the north, far north. And managed to do one cruise ship in 2020, and then pandemic sadly came along. So I was well known as being in charge of cruise at Orkney Harbour Authority and having only done one cruise ship. So now I've done four, so I class myself as an expert on it. We are indeed now ploughing on with what we've got. It is a reduced season here at the moment. It is very much under slight restrictions, but it's going well, and we're seeing a success. We're expecting 37 callers this year, and our first caller was a big vessel. The Anthem of the Seas came in, and with great success. So all going well now. Now we're up and running.
That's great news. I mean, I know, and I've seen the pictures that before the restart, you had a major drill with everybody involved. You want to tell us a bit more about that? And I mean, and also, I want to know, was the local community involved in the restart process? I mean, I know that, for example, the local NHS and the local security and the local hospitals, were they involved?
Yeah, I mean, at the back end of 2020, we decided to start that we needed to start planning hard for a restart when it came. So even in the depths of our second lockdown, we'd started to move that, and we'd got experts involved, like yourself, Ioannis. We pulled together a project team locally. We started to work that in small scale and build it up throughout the first quarter of 2021, to the point that with the target by the end of May, having written a full COVID plan and an emergency safety plan for restart of cruise. And that's come together because of expertise. We took on not only Five Senses Consulting, we used a local retired police chief who is an expert not only in the ways of Orkney, but also in safety planning, resilience and emergency planning, and pulled that together. And the final sort of test of that was to do two exercises, a full setup on our main cruise berth at Hatston, where we simulated having a cruise liner alongside and with passenger flows. And then we did a desktop exercise with all the emergency services, local NHS, local safety and resilience, public health officials, ambulance service, police, and go through a scenario with a cruise line. And we had a cruise line attend as well at that, cruise line operative at that time, attend with us to go through that, so that we felt by the time that we have restarted, a little later than we thought at the end of July, that we were absolutely ready for a cruise line to call. And it also gave the community, it gave us our messaging, something to the community as a whole, to our partners who provide the services to the cruise lines when they call, and to the people on Orkney who see these massive vessels come alongside at Hatston, that they were ready for it, and that we were doing absolutely everything to keep them safe and have a very safe restart.
I fully agree with you. Preparation. That's the key word. And I know that the cruise lines are very happy with what's happening in Orkney, and hopefully they will be increasing their calls for the next season and more years to come. Kostas, the port in Rhodes, I know it's fully operational since the mid-May, when the Greek government announced that they're restarting cruising. Have you restarted? Have you developed any special plans for the restart in Rhodes?
Yes, Rhodes care has been taking about to vaccinate tourism and catering workers, employees, is a matter of priority, as well to provide appropriate staff training on pandemic management. The Ministry of Tourism, the South Aegean Region Service government, the Municipality of Tourism, throughout the previous period, promote the island utilizing all new technologies. I would like to talk about the vaccination. How is the vaccination?
Yeah, no, I mean, yes, I mean, we know that the Greek government has paid special attention on giving priority on vaccination to the islands, and one of them was Rhodes, and especially tourism workers. Yes, please tell us a bit more about this, because this is important in some other parts of the world. As an example.
The vaccination rate in Rhodes now, it's more than between 50 and 60%, and every day is increasing. Representatives of tourism employees is much higher, about 90% people who working in tourism, like hotels, drivers, all this, restaurants, working in restaurants. Tourism workers who have not yet been vaccinated are required to take 2 tests per week, one self-test and one rapid test. So
yes, that is important. We heard that about Greece, that in order to make everybody feel safer, and that's something which they do across the country. Everybody is in tourism industry is required to take 2 tests per week, one self-test and one rapid test, and this is something that can ensure that when a tourist goes or a visitor goes to Rhodes or even any Greek island, you know, you have minimized the risk of that person to be infected. That is great. Okay, Kostas. Let's talk about how Rhodes was affected by COVID and how the return of tourism is assisting the local economy. So we know that the Greek government has done a lot to bring back tourism. Has the local economy been assisted by all this tourism that is coming? Are the local people welcoming back tourism?
Given in Rhodes, given that 90% are involved in tourism, so the blow of the local economy and society was been great, but based on current data and forecasts for the coming years, we are optimistic.
You're optimistic. That is great. Thank you, Kostas. Thank you so much. All right. Now we had the first round of questions. I think it's time to go to round 2. And I think, Sarah, it's time for us to watch your very nice video. Yeah, I know you have prepared something for us.
I have.
Getting Cruise up and going again in Maine was a lot of work. It took a lot of time and people, and we are extremely proud of the outcome. Ioannis from 5 Senses Consulting gave us a very detailed roadmap, and we are now in our 3rd month of successful cruising here in Maine. And we are looking forward to a successful, busy 2022.
I've been volunteering since 2015, and it's great to be here, and it's great to see the boats come back.
We started our Cruise Maine task force back in January, and we started by getting our core group here together in each of our 9 cruise ports in the state of Maine, and of course our public health authorities, which here in Maine is the Maine CDC. From the beginning, the Office of Governor Mills really wanted to prioritize public health, but we also needed the economic recovery.
Everywhere that I've walked around when I've been in port, all the local companies as well, the restaurants and the shops, it's going great. Distancing on board has been great. You know, we have our protocols in place for that as well. Everywhere here, you know, it's the same thing. They feel safe, and they're just glad to be back and getting out cruising.
That was a great video, Sarah. I very much liked that people were, again, enjoying themselves. I like the volunteers. What is the situation today? I mean, and what do you see in the future? How you see things progressing? And I'm not talking just about this year. I'm talking about the spirits, about the season next year and onwards.
Sure. So this year has been a great little dipping our toe back in, and we've had nothing but happy guests, happy local residents, happy businesses to see the business come back. And looking ahead, we feel optimistic. We know we have some more work to do to get ready for a bigger, busier season in 2022, and we'll need to sort of adapt a new version of our plan for those larger vessels. But long term, I think this is a healthy industry. I think it's a nice little piece of the pie in our overall tourism picture in Maine. And everyone is ready for what is the new normal and how we can all work together to get there.
I mean, I think this exercise of you talking to the other ports and, having sessions with them has, made you more family. I think, everybody is more conscious now. And some of the measures, I think they should stay in place because they make us safer as an industry. And also, this gives out why we need to communicate to each other, communicate with the local communities, of course, and the cruise lines. And to me, this is one of the great things that we got out from this exercise.
It's clear to me we're not going back to the old way of doing things. We all need a response plan like this from now on, and probably other ones for other kinds of things we haven't thought of yet and haven't paid enough attention to. So this has been a good wake-up call for us all in a way. And on to your communications point, I think that piece takes much longer than folks often realize. Everyone needs to feel like they understand what's happening, that they understand that they can trust those protocols, that an isolated case is not going to become an outbreak, that kind of thing. And it's really by showing up, by meeting face to face, even if you're wearing a mask, and building that trust with everyone along all of our communities that we've gotten to where we are. And I think that's how we're going to move forward as well.
That's great. And I mean, I know that your area, Cruise Maine, has the best autumns in the world. So let me just say that out loud. And no matter what, as a visitor, as a cruise passenger, Cruise Maine and the whole area is perfect to visit this time around. Okay, let's go to Paul. Let's see what Scotland has to show us, Paul. And let's watch your video.
Yeah, thanks, Ioannis. Yeah, so this is going to be 2 minutes of a taste of Orkney with not a kilt or whiskey in sight, I don't think.
Step ashore in Orkney and you step back in time, discovering over 5,000 years of history in a single day. But you'll also find a thriving community which celebrates its past while embracing the future. Welcome to Orkney. At 59 degrees north, Orkney lies on the same latitude as Alaska, Norway, Estonia and Russia. This archipelago of 70 beautiful and unspoilt islands off the north coast of Scotland is currently the most popular cruise destination in the United Kingdom. If you're arriving at the new cruise berth at Hatston, our welcome service will be happy to assist if you're not heading off on tour immediately. Shuttle buses wait to take you on the 6-minute drive to Kirkwall Travel Centre. From here, it's a short 2-minute walk to the town centre. You can also collect one of our printed information guides in English, German, French, Italian, Dutch and Spanish languages. The great Cathedral of St Magnus, named after Orkney's saint, dates back to the early 12th century and majestically dominates the skyline of this city and royal borough. A short drive to the east of Kirkwall, you'll find the renowned Italian chapel. This is a gem in the list of attractions and the most visited site in the islands. Built by the Italian prisoners of World War II, this is still a formal place of worship today. Orkney's World Heritage Site dates back over 5,000 years, long before Stonehenge. The Neolithic village of Scarabray, the standing stones of Stennis, the Ring of Brodgar and the chambered cairn of Maeshowe are amongst the most notable and visited historic sites in Europe. A day in Orkney is never enough, but we hope your visit leaves you with a small flavour of our special islands. Please come back to see us soon. You'll be made very welcome.
That was great, Paul. I liked the traditional dancing at the end, but your destination has a lot to offer, I must say. I was very, very impressed. Tell me how, you told us before that, you recently had your first calls and throughout the season you were preparing. How was the local community? How did they react on this cruise restart?
Yeah, it's a concern when you're in a location which is seen as remote. I don't like to call Orkney remote. We're connected to the world in general, but as we've seen an area where there's a small group of islands. We have a population of 21,000, most of them living on the Orkney mainland, and very independent-minded people, very much proud to show themselves off to the world, but also to protect themselves from the world which is shown up by this pandemic. There was concerns. There's always concerns around over-tourism in a place like this. But those concerns, you had to build up a sort of build of strategy, a communication strategy that enabled them to come along the journey with us and what we were doing. So we were actually speaking to them all the time that cruise would be coming back. It would coming back different, but you have to be sort of prepared for that. And that we were putting the work that I mentioned before that was going to be in place to reassure and make sure that they felt that they were being looked after as well. And since we have started, the response has been overwhelmingly positive. We're not fully up and running yet, that people are wandering freely around our townships, but that we're preparing for that day, and people are starting to look forward to cruise, and the businesses are chomping at the bit to get them into their shops again.
Yes, of course. Let's not forget that cruise visitors and cruising is affecting positively local businesses around the world. The same thing happens to Orkney everywhere, I suppose. Tell me, we know this year has been different, let's say, difficult, but how next year bookings look like for your destinations?
Orkney, we style ourselves as the UK's cruise capital. So prior to the pandemic, we were seeing probably about 170 callers in our season, which runs from usually March to October. That's all transit calls. It's all usually day visits, some overnight stops. For 2022, I'm already at 192 calls booked, with a lot of lines still to finalise the itineraries. And what we're doing is stretching that as well. So we're starting in January. So if anyone wants to bounce around on a boat in the far north of Europe in January, good luck to them. But we're stretching that and looking also at pushing back to November as well. So stretching it out, giving lines the opportunities to fill their itineraries, because the stuff that you can see here throughout the year, winter tours here can still be just as positive as a summer tour. And making sure that we move forward and we don't over tourist, but we also make sure that we maximise the offer that Orkney can provide to the cruise lines for the years ahead.
So we can say safely that the future looks bright, the future looks Orkney. And I like that. Yes, well done. Let's go back to our friend from Rhodes, Kostas. Kostas, let's watch your videos. Thank you, Kostas. That was indeed great videos,
Thank you.
and it demonstrated that in Rhodes we have a combination between history, culture, and gastronomy.
Exactly. Yes.
So tell me, Kostas, how do you see the future in relation to what happens? I mean, how do you think this year to finish and what's happening in the next year in Rhodes?
We are still we are optimistic about the next season. As we see that there is from compare last year, we had big numbers of visiting, also with the cruise ship approaches of the cruise ship. So there is an increase for the next year too.
Yes, I agree. And from my information, I know that the season has been extended to late November for cruises this year. And I know that everything going well. Next year is going to be a year equally good as 2019, and that's the most important thing. Tell me something, Kostas. Your visitors, we saw a beautiful medieval castle, and I know Rhodes has a lot of history, and the castle is very close to the port. But talk to us about your destination a little bit more. I mean, why someone should visit Rhodes?
Yes, for example, visiting the old town, as you see in the video, medieval city, it was protected by UNESCO since 1988 and becomes a World Heritage Site. So it is in the old town, you visit archaeological museum, a lot of museums, Palace of the Grand Master, and a lot of other sightseeing. Also Lindos, Acropolis of Lindos, around 60 kilometers away from Rhodes is Lindos Acropolis, very famous. Second, I can say beaches along the coastline with many activities and that are available. And to taste the Rhodian cuisine and local products, a lot of local products. For example, you can taste some yaprakia, we call vine, these are the vine leaves stuffed with minced meat and rice. To drink wine, local wine, and suma, it's like a grappa. And to taste the traditional sweet of Rhodes, that is melekuni, it is sesame with honey.
I think you make us all hungry now, Kostas, and I think all the viewers would want to go to Rhodes. But gastronomy is something that all destinations, including Maine, including Orkney, is something which is always very important for a visitor to catch something local, to experience the local culture, the local history. And I know that all three destinations are doing that. And I know that every person that visits either Cruise Maine, main destinations, or Orkney, or Greece and Rhodes will find memories that they will treasure for the whole life. Yes. Let me now do a question that goes to all three of you, and to me this is very, very important, because let me see now how good you sell your destinations to the world, to the cruise community, and to our friends that are watching. So, Sarah, give me your top 3 best features about your destination.
It's hard to narrow it down to 3, but let's see. I mean, we start with the majestic, rocky coastline of Maine. You know, if you followed every inch of the coastline of Maine, it's 3,500 miles or 8,000 kilometers. It's just an incredible, raw, gloriously beautiful coastline, and that's why we're so famous for the fall foliage, right? Because from that coastline you can see just beautiful forests changing gold and red and orange. The second one I think would be our history. You know, Maine is just rich in history with famous artists, explorers. You know, Admiral Perry set out to discover the North Pole from Maine. You can visit his home on an island off the coast. We've got an incredible maritime history, many ships built here. We still have 100 boat and shipbuilders actively working in the state of Maine. And then there's the gastronomy. And of course, our big claim to fame is seafood, especially lobster. And I think what's so fantastic about seeing Maine from the water is that not only do you get to eat that amazing lobster prepared in 100 different ways, but you're seeing the way of life of lobstering. You see those lobster boats out at 4 or 5 in the morning. You see all those lobster buoys that look like a carpet across the ocean, and you can even take a tour and go on a lobster boat and learn how to haul traps and how to band their claws and everything else. So it's an entire way of life that you really feel steeped in by seeing it from the water. So I think it's one of the best ways to see Maine.
That's incredible, and I've tasted some lobsters from the area, and I can vouch how nice they are. I'm looking forward to come and visit Cruise Maine as soon as possible. Paul, same question to you. So give me your 3 top best features for Orkney Islands.
Yeah, thanks, Ioannis. For us, I'll sort of open it out a little bit more and say, that the 3 things for us. The first one is location. We're 59 degrees north, so you can get a taste of Arctic cruising. You can get a little bit of a taste of the far north, but with a bit of Scotland and round UK as well. So you can tie in quite a different itineraries on different days, how you want to see different parts of the islands. The second part is our history. I shudder that with my esteemed colleagues, and I'm speaking here, particularly Rhodes, on history. We've got 5,000 years of history from the Neolithic sites at the Ring of Brodgar and Skara Brae, the UNESCO World Heritage sites. But that's going all the way through up to the modern day. We're famous for having a huge Royal Navy base here in both World Wars, which has left its mark in history, which you saw on the video at the Italian chapel. And of course, on top of that, it's our nature and the facilities that we do to provide people to get into that nature, its accessibility. And that's the third point I'd like to make here, is that, everything is a 30-minute drive from a terminal, no matter where you go. There's multiple places you can land. You can tour our outer isles. You can go adventure exploring in a kayak, hit a beach on a Zodiac. It's just a complete perfect location for cruise all around.
It sounds and it is wonderful, and I'm also looking forward when I will have the time to come and visit Paul, for sure. Kostas, okay, now we play in the same neighborhood. I'm from the island of Crete, you are from the island of Rhodes, but I've been to Rhodes many times, I must admit. I've enjoyed every single time. I'll be back soon. But what do you think you can tell us are the top 3 best features of Rhodes as a destination?
As I told you before, the history and the archaeological sites, lots of archaeological sites to visit, the nature and the beauty of the sea, and the local products and gastronomy, as I told you before.
I think you got all 3 lined together, and I know that many people that have the opportunity to visit the island live with a couple of kilos heavier when they go back home. I know that for sure, which is always good. The common denominator in all 3 destinations, even though they're in different parts of the world, and thank you so much that you took the time today from USA, from England, and from Greece to join me today, is that, to all those 3 destinations, people from when they're in a cruise ship can come and enjoy. They can come and take a little taste or a bigger taste, and then they can go back as a normal traveler. And this is the beauty of cruising. And I think that people miss that all over the world. And that's why, now bookings are starting to picking up. And we know that bookings for 2022 and onwards are very, very strong around the world. And we need to pass this message out that, we are back, we are strong, we are prepared with protocols and measures in place all around the world, and you should feel safe. And to me, this is the greatest positive message we can push around. I don't know if anybody wants to add something more. Sarah?
we're ready for what comes next.
Paul?
Communication, sharing ideas, talking about the experiences, and also looking forward to a sustainable future of cruise as well.
You're done right on that. Yes, sustainable tourism is the next big topic. You're right, well, Paul. And Kostas, you want to share something before we go?
In Rhodes, we are ready. We hope to see you and to welcome you to the islands, and under better conditions next year, I think for sure.
Let's hope that this will become a reality, and that everybody will have again the opportunity, if not sooner or later, to visit and be able to travel. Travel is what opens our eyes. Travel is what makes us better people, I think, when we have the opportunity to see other communities, how they work, how they react, and to learn about the way of life of other people. I think that makes us a better people, better person. Let us thank Seatrade Talks for hosting this broadcast of Winds Around the World. Thank you for being my first guests. I really appreciate that, guys, and Sarah. I will see you all soon. Until the next time, thank you. Please, to the destinations out there who want to participate in our next episode and our next broadcast of Winds Around the World, contact me, and you have the opportunity to showcase your destination and be positive. Be positive about this cruise restart. Thank you so much.
Thank you.